Hello everyone, welcome back to my main channel. Today I'm telling you how I quantum leaped. This is the biggest quantum leap I have ever had, and I'm going to take you through a little bit of a vulnerable story of my journey last year and how I ended up here. I think you will find it very relatable. Actually, what I went through last year is what inspired the December challenge. If you don't know about it yet, I'm hosting the Rebirth Challenge, which is 30 days, 30 videos, only $30, $1 per day. It is 30 days of just taking you through this entire process of getting you unstuck, unmiserable, and becoming the person you want to be. When I tell you my story, you're going to understand why I created this and why I think it will help you. Let's just get into it. So what is quantum leaping? Quantum leaping is basically where you have a massive jump in your reality, and it's usually stemming from your identity. I would say for maybe like 1 or 2 years since I moved country, I was suffering. Like, while everything in my external world looked perfect and like what you would define as success or happiness was there, I was like internally constantly crumbling, and I had no idea why. Because I had all the knowledge to not feel this way, I had all the resources, I had everything I wanted, and you know, we can like bring it down to a number of factors. Number one, I had moved country, and moving country is one of the most stressful things to happen to a person actually. In fact, moving house is number one, I believe. So imagine moving country. And when I moved country, I felt absolutely nothing. And I thought, wow, I'm just so good at managing my stress and my emotions. No, it's because I was fucking dissociated and in denial of it. And then, so I moved in January last year. By February, I started to get depressed. A level of depression I have never experienced before. And I was like, this is so weird, because I don't know where this is coming from. I don't know what the fuck is happening, and it really creeps up on you. It started with me sleeping in bed all the time, not wanting to eat, and then I went to Japan, and I was walking around Japan crying for no reason. And I remember thinking, I can genuinely feel there is something not right in my brain. It felt like I had no control over my brain, and if you've been depressed, you know what that feels like. Then, guess what? I come back from Japan. 2 weeks later, I get a text from my sister. Dad is gonna die. I remember when I got that text, because I was preparing for this death, honestly, for years. I was already quite numb. So what happened, I cried for literally 2 minutes. And then I snapped out of it, and you know what? I was like, I have to go and film YouTube videos right now, because I always prioritize my work. And I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna react when this actually happens. So that whole little period actually forced me to then snap out of this depression, because I was like, I don't have time to be sad at the moment. Then I went back to Australia, and the death happened. I was already numb, so I didn't feel anything. And then progressively, over the next few months, what happened? I thought I was fine on the surface. All these feelings started to come up, didn't know where they came from, started to feel depressed. By September, I had suicidal ideations. It really creeps up on you guys. I thought I was in New York and Bali having a blast. Nope. Anything would happen to me, like the minus of inconveniences, my brain would be like, you can kill yourself. It would drive me insane, because also with my job, I had to come on camera and be like, well, everything is fine. Let me teach you guys how to change your life. It would drive me insane because I knew all these things, right? But why the f was my brain like this? You know what it comes down to? Nervous system dysregulation. My nervous system, my body felt so unsafe. Everything with my dad started to boil to the surface. Things I never even thought I had an issue with. It started to come up. Everything shifted this year, especially in the last 90 days. I feel like really a completely different person. I'll tell you what happened. Number one, obviously I had to fix my mental health. So that wasn't by doing therapy. I was already doing therapy last year. It just helped me realize, okay, this is where it's coming from. But a therapist is so amazing, because not only are they there to support you, but they're there to offer you different perspectives and link things together that you otherwise would not see. For example, you know the quote, can a doctor get sick? Yeah, they can. I can connect everything myself, right? But there still is going to be something I'm missing. It's like when you go to your friends for advice and they tell you what to do because they see the situation so clearly without any bias or emotions, and then you couldn't even fathom that they came up with this response. Versus if the situation was reversed, you would have said the exact same thing to them that they said to you. So that's why even if you are so highly emotionally intelligent, you're very self-aware, it's important to have someone there that can support you and give you another perspective. Thank you to BetterHelp for being the paid partner of today's video. BetterHelp is on a mission to making starting therapy easier and also more accessible. They will connect you with a credentialed therapist who is trained to listen to you and give you helpful, unbiased advice. All you need to do is fill out a questionnaire and they will connect you with a therapist as soon as possible. And if you don't like your therapist, you can actually change free of charge, which is my favorite thing about BetterHelp. It's so quick to switch therapists and it's free, and I don't need to go and get a doctor referral, drive to a new clinic, wait there. Like, it is so easy and convenient, because I know when I was peak depression, I don't want to drive to a clinic and wait there. With over 7,000 reviews and a 4.3 star rating on Trustpilot, BetterHelp is a platform you can trust, so click the link here to get 10% off your first month of therapy with BetterHelp. Guys, even though that was a sponsorship, you guys know I talk about therapy no matter what. You need to get a therapist. You need somebody who can support you. I don't care how emotionally stable you think you are. Guys, I thought I was emotionally stable last year. That's how clouded your judgment can get. There are always little signs that give it away. One of them for me was I would get super obsessed with something, and that obsession was more like a coping mechanism or a distraction. But I needed to do like nervous system regulation. I noticed I would get so dysregulated that it got to the point when I was with people, I would get a neck pain, and I would be like rubbing my neck in public with people because I would be so stressed out. So I bought an Oura ring, and my Oura ring would show that I was peaking in stress like every single day until I started to regulate my nervous system. You can't just work on your mental, you got to work on your body and your spirit. And it was driving me crazy that I knew all these elements, and I couldn't piece it together. And there weren't a lot of resources actually to help me figure these things out. Because if you're looking at it spiritually, they'd be like, okay, maybe it's because you have entity attachments, or you have cords, or your chakras are unbalanced, or it's generational trauma. And then you look at the body and it's like, yeah, it's nervous system dysregulation, trauma stuck in your fascia. And then you look at the mental and it's like, well, you're not thinking correctly, or maybe your brain chemistry is wrong. And you're like, well, what do I start with? That's why I created this 30-day challenge. It's meant to incorporate everything together. So if you guys are feeling like I was feeling, or you're feeling like you need a really big change in your life, I highly recommend you to join our challenge. So if you want to join, go here. There's 2 live coaching calls. You get access for 2 months, so you can do it as many times as you want. I take you through the whole mind, body, spirit process to completely transform you. And this is how I transformed. So let's fast forward to 2025. By 2025, I had already started to regulate my nervous system, do all the body work. My stress levels dramatically lowered. My body was not in a constant state of flight or fight anymore. And also I had this identity where I was so attached to the past, in particular to being a YouTuber. I kind of knew that this was not going to be my forever journey of being a YouTuber. I had to let go and do other things, but I felt like so attached to it that I just could not let it go. And the first quantum jump, you guys, it came from after a period where I had been fighting myself for maybe years. And I fully, in September, stepped into this place where I said, I'm going to create from the unknown, because the unknown is the void, and that is where all creation happens. And I said to myself, I am just going to surrender. I am gonna leave. I am gonna let whatever happen. And it was scary, and it is still scary. Because when you're in the void, you don't really have control. You don't know what's going to happen. In fact, things tend to crumble and get really bad before they become good, because your old life needs to fall apart before the new life comes in. So you're in this limbo state. Now, don't forget, when everything's falling apart, it doesn't mean that things are going wrong. You need to remind yourself that wherever you are right now is not going to be forever. Like, you're going to get out of it. Something I also remind myself, if you're a control freak, consciousness is the only reality. You must train your awareness to not focus on the bad. And it's difficult, I understand, because your life can be crumbling around you. You can see that you're losing money, you're in debt, like maybe a family member is sick and you're like, what the fuck is going on? On top of that, maybe you're battling your own mental stability. And then you have someone on YouTube telling you consciousness is the only reality, guys. Like, awareness is key. I understand how silly it sounds because I've been there. But it's true. The first thing you need to do is try to get a grasp on your mental state, especially if you are somebody who has mental illness. We need to do everything possible to stabilize your mental health. And that starts with, number one, you have to get a therapist who you don't want to be anymore. You actually need to get so fucking fed up with yourself. I was fed up with myself, and you know why it was difficult for me to make this quantum leap? It was because I already had this damn life that I dreamed of. So I didn't actually feel any urgency to change. I was like, I have everything. I had no urgency. That's what made it more difficult for me, until I kept thinking like, I can't do this, like it's not sustainable enough. And I decided to take this huge leap where I was going to let go, and I was going to embrace the fact that I might be starting from zero again. A part of me was so afraid of that. It means giving up your identity. I had to give up my identity. You need to get clear on your new identity, and you need to start to show up as this person. And you need to learn how to regulate your state, because your state is always going to want to take you back to the past. Like I said, where our nervous system feels unsafe with anything that's unfamiliar, anything that is also difficult. We want safety, we go back to the past. And one way my nervous system would do this is, the moment I would feel like I made a huge leap, suddenly my brain's like, what can we think about from our past to reattach to? And you need to learn how to break this pattern and stop it, because you will try to find an anchor to your past still. Now, how did I really make a quantum leap so fast and honestly so furiously that people have told me on YouTube and in my life that I just seem different? I woke up every morning and I had a non-negotiable meditation stack. As I always say, if you want to change, you need to meditate. Through meditation, we gain control over our brain, and I started to literally look at the world like I could see it for the matrix it was, and I could control it. When I don't meditate, I don't have the same skill. So I wake up in the morning, I do this video, Kundalini breathwork, and then I do this. I like to do revision meditation, or I just sit there in silence and I meditate. Then I go into some EFT tapping. If I'm really feeling it, I might do some pranic meditations, or I will do Ho'oponopono. And that raises my frequency so much. I also do some other practices which I don't talk about on YouTube. It will be in the challenge. I'm telling you, after like 2 weeks of doing this, I started to feel such a shift in myself. And by 1 month, the old identity was actually gone. The old identity was gone, and there was a new Simone there where I felt completely differently. And when you do go through this quantum leap, this identity shift, suddenly you get all of these new ideas. Some people call them downloads. Whatever it is, it's divine and you should act on it. And the past version of myself could never have accessed this no matter how hard I try, because you need to step into this new version of you through it. Here we are 1 year later, I feel so different, completely different. So if you guys are ready for this, I hope you join me on the challenge. It starts December 1st. It's for 30 days, and it's actually leading to the January challenge, which is the whole manifestation thing. I'm so excited to have you there.